Good evening, everyone. How are you? Gabs here, What's in the Glass Digital Beer Streams. Welcome, everyone. I hope you're having a good time. I hope you're right, guys. I hope you are healthy, safe, and you're drinking good beer. You're having a good time. As you can realize, days are getting longer and longer. It's probably, like 6:02. And look at just outside. I mean, at least in London, you do have a very nice light. And North London specifically, that's where I'm based. My name is Gabs. If you haven't met me before, I'm trying to be the best beer communicator I can. I've been in the industry from 10 years. I moved to London 8 years ago, and then I never stopped to work in the industry. The reason because I never stopped working in the industry is because this is one of the best industry you think you can aim to be part of. One of the main reasons is because you could have just seen what happened yesterday with the International Women's Day. There was a full love wave happening outside and inside London and all the rest of the planet of brewers and people working in every single department within the beer industry, which was very, very, very nice to see. And as I said, despite the fact that I'm a man, of course, and maybe like some people wouldn't think there is an intention to understand and follow. That's how we all do have to do. Understand, try to talk within each other and see what is going on and learn how to talk with everyone, because this is one of the most important things, especially because the beer industry is very inclusive and it's all about the beer, it's all about the liquid, it's all about meeting up. And I'm sure I learned, and all the other peoples that are within the industry learn so much about respect and, spending time together, existing in a same room, mostly because all the time that we spend together in beautiful places like pubs, then we hopefully going to see very soon. But also bottle shops are really important. The reason because bottle shops are really important is because guess you are planning to go home, find the fact that maybe you just need to, not going to be able to spend your time in a pub in normal days, or even just because, you have something in mind you really want to cook tonight or tomorrow, and maybe you want to grab some specific products. Well, for that, there are beautiful places in London where you can buy beer, you can get, your best products. But there are some that are really special, and it could be because the people that are working in there, it could be because the way that they treat products, and it could be the way that they manage to really create a community around them, around the space. And it's beautiful to know that places like Cups and Taps are exactly all of the three elements that I just mentioned, even more. They've been, in the outpost of craft beer and natural wine and cider and so many other things from decent amounts of time, and that made them possible to understand what is going on and give us potentially also like a good insight. We met Phil back in the summer. You can find still the digital beer streams with him. But today I really wanted to meet Steph. So if you could potentially help me to welcome her. Hello, Steph.
Hi, how are you doing? Hi.
Very good, very good. Nice to have you here.
Nice to be here.
I was checking before your social media, and I realized that you were going to drink a decent beer for tonight, which is Burn Mill. Tell me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, Burnt Mill. Whoops, Daisy. Emerald Table. Haven't poured it out yet. We had one of these over the weekend, and it was phenomenal. Nice. So I thought I'd have it again today. I thought it was quite appropriate. Obviously, head brewer is a woman, Sophie Durand. So thought I'd go for this again. And I love the artwork, which I can't show you very well because I'm not used to this camera.
We see it. It's nice. It's nice.
So I'll just pour that out now.
In the meantime, I'm having a salt, lovely 7.2% IPA actually, which is going to give me a bit of a punch later on. But
what does it say there? HD?
Is a HDHC IPA, which is. I still need to do my homework, and I will try to understand what exactly means. But yeah, it's pretty curious, and I love the fact that it's super minty and it's super, like green but not piney. Some other green that I still need to detect. What about yours?
Salt. So this is like a sort of quite savoury smelling it, but you can also detect stone fruits in there, and it's from drinking it over the weekend. It's quite soft. Yes, still really good. Super full of flavour. Just really loved it on, I think it's Saturday we had it, and so very keen to drink it. Yeah. Have to not drink all of it myself. We should probably sell some of it to people.
Yeah, this is something that I always talk about when you work in a bottle shop. You do have the responsibility to try as many products you stock, because it's an act of as I said, responsibility to your customers, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Probably get asked every time I'm working the shop, like, have you tried everything in here? I mean, obviously there's two edges to that sword, because sometimes it's because, oh, you're a lady, do you drink it? No, take it very seriously. We still do try and drink everything that comes through these doors.
It's a hard job.
Yeah, but someone's going to do it. We're here taking that bullet for you guys.
Well, let me put it this way. It's not just a couple of months or weeks that you're doing that. Since when Caps and Taps was open, if I can ask you? Is open.
We are rocking up to our 6th birthday. That's in like a month's time, I think. Should probably prepare something for it.
Please do it.
Yeah, I mean, we really missed our last birthday, obviously, because like the world was falling apart. Yeah, 6 years. We've got some plans. Whether we can get them into action before April 11th, we'll see.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to hear as well potential plans, of what you're planning to do, given the the most recent announcement. I'm not waiting too long before after the 10 minutes before asking you if you could give us a description, an idea about what Caps and Taps is, and even if you want to be of your background.
Oh, right. Well, so Caps and Taps, we're an independent bottle shop. Basically, beer is our main focus. However, recently we've just gone into really most things that taste good. So we've got like lots of natural wines in the fridge, and we've got some really good craft ciders.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, it's not particularly our area of expertise, but we're really learning on those fronts. So like you can come here for most of your bevs. We've got some gin as well, some local gin, but spirits aren't really our thing, I guess. As I say, we've been going 6 years. Our backgrounds, mine's a whole mishmash. I've worked all sorts of jobs. Probably for the most time, I worked on film sets,
Nice.
at art department. I think it sort of is quite a good background for owning your own business, because you're always like need to get things done by a certain time, otherwise that's that. And Phil has a background in accountancy, which is hella useful in running your own business. So
Absolutely. Well, I've been always fascinating about this possibility that you have in London of following your passion, and sometimes potentially just switch and give it a go, give it a try of something that it will really probably going to make you happy. And when did you get this switch of trying this adventure with Caps and Taps?
So mine and Phil's first beer holiday was 2012, I think. Oh, hold on. In 2011, we went to visit a friend in Boston. We did 2 brewery tours, and then we were hooked. So then our next big holiday in 2012, we were like, how many breweries can we get in America? And that was our tourism for a while. And then certainly around 2014, we went to New York and we hung out in a couple of bowl shops where you could drink in and stuff. And we were like, this is cool. This would be really cool in London. But we both had jobs at the time, but we'd always talk about it when we went to the pub. And then the opportunity arose. Like, we kind of both lost our jobs. I mean, I was always between jobs anyway because like freelancer. But it just seemed like the right time to do it. We were a bit more settled in other areas of our life. And so we started looking for property. No idea what we're doing. I mean, not entirely sure we know what we're doing now, but a little bit more than back then. And yeah, here we are 6 years later.
Which is absolutely incredible, inspiring. And you said that 2011, 2012 as well in London, we were talking probably about 1/10 of the breweries that are in this city right now, and even less probably dedicated pubs and shops, and definitely supermarkets didn't have craft beer as well, right?
So yeah, it's like always a bit weird to talk about supermarkets because they're like sort of our sworn enemy now. But it was back in like 2010, 2011 that Phil was like, oh my God, there's this brewery called Brewdog and we can go buy them in Tesco's. And we were like, oh, trip to Tesco's. What's this? What's this? So, there were little bits. And then where we were living in Chalk Farm, there was an off license that just happened to stock like Sam Adams and Beavertown in bottles, if you can remember such a thing. And it was between the tube station and our flat. So we'd always like pick up a few on the way home from work. So we were quite lucky that we were quite exposed to craft beer, what it was then, but it's so much bigger now. It's like, it's gone from being 2D to like 3D, 4D. It's hard now.
Yeah. Pretty much everywhere in the world there is a kind of family representation, dedicated events, press, blogs, websites. It's very, very, very fascinating. And you mentioned as well cider, and despite the fact that we call digital beer streams, we did experimental cider week last season of the digital beer stream, which was incredible. I loved so much to see how dedicated the cider people are. Did you experience any of that?
Oh, completely. So I went to university in Bristol, which is sort of heartlands of cider making. So I was lucky that I'd been exposed to, I guess, like not Strongbow. I was younger. But it's always a difficult one because people maybe from London are a bit like, oh, cider should cost £2 a can max, and like that's an online premises. So it's quite. You have to like educate people a bit more to be like, why am I paying £6 for this bottle of cider? But the majority of people, when they try a £4, £5 bottle of cider compared to what they know, they're like, oh, I see, this is it. And yeah,
especially products from Oliver's and this kind of producer. I saw the image cans just recently, right?
Yeah. So I've had the Perry can. Not tried the cider can yet, but the Perry can's fantastic. But in London, we're really lucky. We've got Duck Chicken. Like, they're a really cool producer. They produce the cider all in their flat, but it's super tasty, like authentic stuff. And it's really fun to be able to say, look, this was made in South London and it's really good cider.
It really feels like cider, for some reason, will have a big stage for in this summer. I don't exactly know why, but I'm receiving more and more comments from people that are not entirely into craft beer, but they are coming a bit from the wine, and they see the progression of the ideas around cider into a very, very fun and cool word. And I don't really want to touch too much how has been your experience so far in these last months, because people seems to don't want to listen that anymore. But I'm taking an advantage to say, compared to has been your month so far, since the first lockdown and stuff, what's the vibe now, and where are you directing your plans?
Wow.
With cups and tops.
It has been one hell of a roller coaster, hasn't it, this past 12 months? We went from like lockdown 1, where we just weren't opening the shop. You could order stuff to click and collect, and we started local deliveries. We've been continuing with the local deliveries, and I think we'll actually continue with that, like when this pandemic is over, touch wood. So that's like been quite interesting. Yeah, it's we completely lost footfall, which is a lot of what we rely on. It's a lot of what we pay rent for and rates for. It's based on footfall, and there's been none. Obviously, no drinking in, but our drinking areas become sort of a mini distribution center for online sales and for local deliveries. I don't know. Like, I think one of the things we've really taken out of it is how good our regulars are to us, and like how much we love and cherish our regulars. They've been great throughout, really, and I don't know. It's really weird feeling that things are going to open up again. So as I say, I've been out on deliveries, and I'm beginning to like sense the excitement in the air. Like if you go out on deliveries on a like slightly sunny day, the air feels really charged up, and I think it's people just ready to, you know, see each other again, go to the pub again, and all that. So I don't know, I'm feeling really positive at the moment. We've hopefully got some like plans to maybe enhance our drinking for when that's 100% safe again. I can see Brett is asking about growler fills.
Yep.
So we have a growler station. It's the biggest pile of trash ever. I mean, if anyone wants to buy it, it's great. But this is one of the things we're thinking is maybe not having the world's most complicated machine to pour out beer. We thought we might simplify that a bit. Like, just seeing how pubs have done growler fills really well, and actually they haven't been using that. But we won't be doing any growler fills again, I think, until pubs are fully reopened.
Which makes sense in a way, you know. Again, you do have such an incredible, you know, range of beers or products in your shop, and most important, you dedicated so much on, you know, refreshment. Like, you really truly believe that beer should be kept in the right way, right?
You can probably hear all our fridges making all their noise over there. Yeah, that's something we're looking at in the future, is maybe a cold room for just to really lap up any beers that don't quite make it into the fridge. We obviously, anything hoppy goes straight into the fridge, but sometimes our stouts are maybe a bit more room temperature than we're entirely happy with. So we're thinking maybe a cold room in here in our tiny shop. Yeah.
Well, you know, Phil a couple of months ago mentioned potential big plans. I mean, I just provoked him and he had to give me an answer. That's how he went, basically.
Okay,
but you know,
in this tiny shop, I mean in a different tiny, slightly larger shop that we're hopefully looking at the moment. But
you know, your logo is really recognizable, and this is a very big part of the identity of a place, especially in a place like London, in a city like London. Like, people stop when they see something. We are like, I feel London is acting slightly similar to the flights on the light, and we get stuck when we see things flashing on us, right?
Yes, completely, absolutely.
Yeah, like I'm walking on the street and I see bow. I need a bow now. You know what? This is how I'm doing.
Yes, that's why I could never not be a Londoner, I think, because if someone put the idea of bow in my head and I couldn't immediately go and get a bow, I would be crestfallen.
Yeah. Well, you know, we actually thought about, you know, if there are like desertic areas in London where beer is not present, where craft beer is not available, and it would be interesting to see, as much as the Caps and Taps next move, you know, maybe other businesses or whatever is going to happen in the future with pubs, if they really believe things like, we think Barnett's doesn't have enough craft beer, let's go and fill up Barnett's, you know. It'd be interesting to see.
There's definitely a few areas that it's a bit of a walk to your nearest craft beer. So
I mean, Finsbury Park. Finsbury Park is safe in a way.
It's safe in what way?
Yeah, like I think I do receive direct, delivery from a multitude of places in case I would love to deal with them. Yep. And many times, like the Brave Sir Robin as well managed to give beers and try to survive through all of this time. So I can't really complain in terms of the beer community. Even like if you will have like a tour around here, you're gonna spend a couple of pennies in good pints. So that's good. We mentioned about plans. Seriously, do you think people are going to still ordering beer at home, watching digital shows like this one, relying on digital festivals? How do you see that, and why?
I think people have got quite used to ordering beer at home. They've got quite used to consuming the media through sort of like through this sort of stream, actually, and it's a bit more tailored to what people want rather than just taking what the closest thing is. But I do think people are just raring to be back together. I think the idea of a digital festival is lovely in times when you can't be really drunk at a festival, like trying to chat to people behind the bar. Like, I think my sense is that people are going to go mad this summer for just human interaction around their beer. But maybe I'm projecting, because so we're only open 4 days a week at the moment, and I only actually do maybe half a day behind the till, and I am so excited to see customers. I am like at them. So maybe I'm just projecting that onto other people, that they'll be very excited to get back not behind the bar, in front of the bar.
Well, let me put it this way: this is the common idea within the industry. I think this is how it's gonna be, and I think there's going to be an interactions between the real words, actually the online and the offline words. They're going to become all at once. Like, I see us go to Brew London or London Craft Beer Festival and watching a bit what's going on around us and drink, but then keep constantly check things on the phone. Something like that.
Yeah, completely. So obviously there's like Untapped and whatnot at the moment. Some very imperfect digital beer deliveries. So yeah, maybe this will promote sort of more nuanced beer chat, beer discussion than what we've currently got, and probably really needed as well, as I say. Fun times.
And what about like events? I mean, we are now being very positive in the way that we really think, the darkness is going to go away and we will be back to our full normality as soon as possible. Maybe it's going to take a while, and maybe we will have to do step by step all the journey in such a safe way. And I know you've been doing, you did events back in the days. I know, there is such a, an important element of it, but would you feel potentially really safe even when they're going to say, yes, we can go, let's meet all together, to go around 100, 150 to 100 people and drink next to them? Or
it's very, very keen to, obviously. Depends on the location. But like, for example, in our shop, which is small, I don't think we're doing events again for a long time.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm not getting my vaccine for a long, long time. So not sure I want too many people in the shop. Like at the moment, we've got a 1 bubble at a time rule in.
Okay.
And I know shops are open and it's all fine on April 12th, but
yeah,
I think we might increase it to 2 bubbles then. It's a small space. It's just better safe than sorry, and then make sure you've got like a really, really good time next year. Everything's
absolutely.
Good.
Yeah. I totally agree with you. I mean, we really need to have something which is gonna be the one, and it's gonna be just there. And you know, I really want, as I said, you know, dedicate these digital biz streams in the month of March to the women in the industry, and it's great to hear from you. Also because you are part of the Crafty Biggers, and you know, we had Natasha yesterday telling us about a couple of things. It's been super helpful, super interesting, especially because she does really have this kind of sense of community and everything. The main question for me is always like, do you perceive yourself as a woman in the industry? Do you perceive yourself as someone within the industry? And by the answer that you give, why is that?
Most of the time, I perceive myself as someone within the industry.
Mm-hmm.
Not infrequently, someone will talk to me in a way that makes me think of myself as a woman within the industry. It is what it is. It's not always terrible, but there's still a bit of ways to go, isn't there? You know, and especially in the last year, it's been, maybe I'm a little extra sensitive to it because I had a baby last January.
Congratulations.
But that is definitely, that's been like 2 years enforced really out of the industry. You obviously can't drink. And then you're looking after a child, so you can't really be in the shop till 9 p.m. So yeah, I think of myself as a person within the industry, but every so often I'm reminded that some people think of me as a woman within the industry.
You've been traveling a lot. You've been to Belgium. You've been to America. Do you perceive the UK industry one like very open-minded and very active and very, you know, and capable to think forward compared to other ones? Because I've been in Italy and it's really hard to find women, you know, within the industry, and I've been looking hard. There are really many. So at what level we are in the UK right now with this kind of gender parity, or, you know?
I think we're pretty good, actually. You know, for as much as I say that, it's just because it shocks me, because actually most people are really, you know, they're not shocked by women being in the industry. So maybe it's from the luxurious point of everyone being like seeing it as completely normal until you see someone who doesn't. It's interesting to ask how I see it in other countries. I'm just thinking to America, which is where I spent most of the time doing brewery tours, and obviously their industry is set up quite differently, but there's a lot more visible women, I guess, in America, but you do sometimes get the vibe like, here is our female tour guide, here are some men running behind the scenes. Like, I'm not sure that's really the balance we're looking for. Sorry, there's someone like standing outside the door expecting me to open.
Really? You can show them the screen and just be like, I'm on air. Sorry.
Sorry. We're close to that.
Well, but you know, I think the amount of beers that you're getting into the shop as well, you just don't know the people who are probably are behind the brewery. Like we mentioned, Bermeal and Sophie, and I'm sure with most of the products that you have there, Pressure Drop Day, yeah, you know, you met the guys, you met the girls, you met the people there, and which is brilliant. And it's very rare to find in this day as well. And I'm very happy about it. Products which are in, you know, presenting like nice things. I go to a shop in these days, and pretty much all the cans as well, all the products are having a positive and a decent look and philosophy behind, right?
Oh yeah, our shop is like a miniature art gallery. I love it. It's very difficult actually trying to fit everything in the fridge, but sometimes it's a real joy, like trying to place labels next to each other that go really well and have a really nice impact. And let's say, like, I'm obsessed with the Burnt Mill branding, but there's, like the Pressure Drop branding is really good, and I love it. I love how artistic it all is as well.
And I'm sure you will love to talk with customers again, suggesting them what to get, telling them you really should try this. Oh, this is banging. Oh, well, you're going to have food tonight? Go for this, because this is going to be perfect with that.
So a few people suggested to us we should get some recommends boxes, because we can't talk to people. So we've started doing that. And that is actually, it's a bit of a nightmare, because I get the box out and then I spent like 25 minutes being like, oh, and then this one. And then like I'm trying to look up what the customer ordered last time. And I actually need to like get stuff done. But I really enjoy putting those together. And I think like Phil does too. I know it's really good. Like you start off with you're like, we've got to have this beer and this beer and this beer. And then based on this, I think they'll like this. It's not quite the same as talking to customers, but
like you're not you're expert. You need to share your expertise with people, so you need to find a way to doing it. And like what exactly you will give in terms of advices to people then right now, maybe like even in different cities or outside London, trying to build a successful business, a well-known business. Like, how do you actually tell them what to do? What would you say to them?
Look after your stock, look after what you're bringing in, make sure you know what's going on, make sure you try it and know that you like it and know what fruit it tastes like, not just like it's fruity. And then look after your regulars. Our regulars have been, they've got us through this year. They've been fantastic. And that's like, part of it is like, beer is great, beer is fun, but a lot of it is the human connection. And like for us, the excitement of like being able to recommend a beer that someone's gonna love, because their beer tastes and what's come in. So just regulars and drink all your beer.
Yeah,
but not too much, because that's a business disaster.
And what about if someone comes in, don't recognize any sort of label, don't recognize any beer, any breweries, and trying to escape? How to speak with them? How can you convince them to really try the products that you believe in?
Yes, that happens actually quite frequently. I think you just got to. So we in the beer industry, we've developed our own vocabulary, haven't we? Like, oh, that's very dank, etc., etc., etc. Don't say dank to someone who doesn't know beer very well. They will leave immediately. I think you've just got to like listen to what they're saying and like understand the hooks, and then that usually opens up at least like 7 or 8 beers that you think they'll like based on what they've said. It's almost, it's like, it's not quite a different language, but it's definitely different. Like it's translation of what they're saying to you, and you've got to interpret it with the knowledge that you have.
That's brilliant. Again, because most of the people sometimes, don't really understand what is going on. We took a completely different type of language from anywhere else, and we believe everyone knows what kernel is when we say kernel. Yeah.
People come in, they're like, no, I've had that one. I'm like, oh, but you've had one from the brewery, but I think you'll like this one, please.
Yeah. Like, that's super funny in a way, because again, it's us being the 0.5% of the words. It's not the words being the 0.5%. But then we're so into it. Like, I think sometimes that the same level of maniacal, attitude within our industry is probably not second to, comic collectors or music fans, we are at their level.
I think if you look at the people who work in this industry, people who've worked in music, people who read comic books, there's a big crossover. So, yeah.
Definitely, this is it. And I've got an interesting question, which is, how is Kentish Town now? Is it busy? Like, how does it look like in these days?
Kentish Town is... Our end of Kentish Town's not looking great. There's a lot of shuttered shops still. And actually the main end of Kentish Town is both, a lot of things have closed down, but a lot of things have opened up, like new cafes, which is great. So it seems like the seeds of regeneration are there. It's always very busy. I always come down to the shop and I'm like, why is everyone else out? There's a lockdown. But people have got stuff to do, I guess. And yeah, as I say, like we've got some new cafes opening up, and we've lost a few of the chain cafes, which is interesting, actually. I mean, the whole high street situation is a whole different topic, but maybe it's a positive if some more independent shops are allowed to stay on the street.
100% yes. I don't really want to sound like, but in a way, give space to people that have good ideas. And how is Camden? I haven't been in Camden in 14 months, let's say.
Oh, Camden's a ghost town, actually.
No.
I don't driving through there. It's yeah. I've always lived around Camden. Like, I'm always used to like ducking and diving tourists, but it's, you can actually drive down the street without like random people wandering in front of your car, which I've had to do with local deliveries a lot. Yeah, as a local, you're always like, oh, Camden, but actually, I quite want to see it back how it was, full of people.
Yeah, like we've been going around a lot during the lockdown, between the lockdowns, for filming in some pubs, and it was very, very heartbreaking to realize that the areas which had the least numbers of people floating in it were Shoreditch, were Soho, were Camden, while the neighborhood areas, even just like 5 minutes by walk, they were bubbling. There were people there, So it's been always like very interesting to realize, like all of these phenomena, because that's going to dictate as well how many pubs are going to be open and in which way they're going to be open, and maybe what kind of beers they're going to decide to have.
Yeah, completely. Yeah, I do wonder about central London pubs. Like, if you've got no outside space, what are you going to do?
Too long being closed as well, like I don't know, like and again, I'm one of the people that potentially won't be back at work anytime soon, so it's very very unusual to believe our life in London as not commuters, our life in London as not people that are gonna go around, and there are places that we need to find a way to protect them. And the Black Heart as well it was really interesting to see.
They've done what looks like a really good campaign, like really impressive. There's a lot of campaigns out there, but very eye-catching. I really hope they get through, because it's the Black Heart.
Yeah, actually, if you can, guys, have a look at that. There is an interesting crowdfunding campaign.
It's a raffle every week, isn't it? So, even if you don't just want to give money for the sake of giving money, you could win. I think they had like an orange amplifier branded with, was it Camden Town or something the other week? And they've got lots of cool stuff. It's a great campaign for a really, really good venue, which would be heartbreaking to lose.
Oh, I can't exactly express living in a city like London, where the only place I would be able to go and drink are Wetherspoons, and all the beers they're going to be able to drink are corn-based lagers. I prefer to avoid that option,
Yeah.
So I'm glad there are places like Caps and Taps. There are people like you that can really, like, again, welcome every customers when you're going to be able to, to do it again safely and tell them the beauty of the world we existing into it. And may I ask you, what are you gonna eat tonight, and what kind of beer you're planning to drink tonight with Phil as well?
So Phil is currently at home prepping me some tacos. Yeah.
Mexican lager.
Well, yeah, I think so. I think I'm gonna take a selection of lagers,
Nice.
probably a couple of IPAs.
Nice.
See what fits.
Yeah, like I think I don't know exactly what we're gonna have tonight, but I've got a couple of beers to try as well. So surprise, we'll see where we're going to. Steph, I really would love to come and see you guys up to Kentish Town. I may wait a bit more until I know I can give you a hug and we can discuss about beers for hours. So can you please have a beautiful rest of the week, and it's been great to talk with you.
And you. It's been really good. And yeah, we'll hopefully be able to welcome you back in here soon.
I also have a lot of people you see commenting and watching us, like Paul Davies, Tori. I know Deepak as well was watching it, Mars. So thank you very much, guys. Yeah. Shall we go to Manchester?
Oh my, so the first place I'm going when we're allowed. Baby's going to grandparents. I am going to Manchester, and I am
Marble Tour. Yeah, let's do that. Well, give a big hug to Phil as well, and thanks again.
Bye. It's lovely to talk to you.
Pleasure. Bye, guys.